One day, deep in the dense forests of the Canadian wilderness, Wolverine was on one of his usual solo missions. The air was crisp, the scent of pine strong, and Logan felt the familiar stillness that came before something big. He was tracking down a group of mercenaries who had been causing trouble in nearby villages. His claws itched to deal with them, but something else caught his attention. A loud roar echoed through the trees, shaking the ground beneath Wolverine's feet. It was no ordinary roar. It was deep, primal, and filled with rage. Logan's instincts kicked in, and he knew that whatever was making that sound was more dangerous than any mercenary. Wolverine followed the sound, weaving through the forest with ease. The closer he got, the stronger the heat became. The trees around him began to blacken, as if scorched by intense flames. Finally, he emerged into a clearing, and there, towering over the trees, was Drago the Dragon. Drago was a monstrous beast with scales as dark as midnight, and eyes that burned with a fiery glow. His wings stretched wide, casting a shadow over the entire clearing. Flames licked at his mouth, and his sharp claws dug deep into the earth. Drago was not just any dragon. He was ancient, powerful, and furious. Logan stared up at the dragon, his eyes narrowing. "Looks like I got bigger problems than mercenaries," he muttered to himself. He unsheathed his claws with a familiar snick sound. Drago noticed the small figure below him and let out another deafening roar, flames bursting from his mouth and scorching the ground. Wolverine dodged the flames with lightning reflexes, rolling to the side and then charging straight at Drago with his claws bared. Wolverine slashed at Drago's legs, his adamantium claws slicing through the dragon's tough scales. Drago roared in pain and anger, whipping his massive tail around to knock Logan off his feet. Wolverine was thrown across the clearing, crashing into a tree with a grunt. But Logan wasn't one to stay down for long. His healing factor kicked in, and he was back on his feet in seconds. Drago lunged at Wolverine, his jaws snapping, trying to crush him in his teeth. Logan ducked and slashed at the dragon's snout, drawing more blood. But Drago was relentless, using his wings to create powerful gusts of wind that knocked Logan off balance. The fight raged on, with Drago breathing fire and Wolverine using his speed and agility to dodge the flames and land strikes wherever he could. The ground shook with every step Drago took, and the forest around them began to catch fire, turning the clearing into a battlefield of flames and fury. Despite the dragon's immense power, Wolverine's tenacity and resilience began to wear Drago down. Logan's claws found their mark again and again, cutting through Drago's scales, weakening the beast with every strike. But Drago wasn't done yet. With a final, desperate roar, the dragon unleashed a torrent of fire, engulfing Wolverine in flames. For a moment, everything was silent. The flames roared, the forest crackled, and Drago watched, believing he had finally defeated the mutant warrior. But then, through the flames, a figure emerged, Wolverine, his clothes burned, his skin seared, but his healing factor already working to repair the damage. Logan's eyes blazed with determination as he charged one last time, leaping onto Drago's back. He climbed up the dragon's scales, dodging flames and swipes, until he reached Drago's head. With a mighty roar of his own, Wolverine plunged his claws deep into the dragon's skull. Drago let out a final, agonized roar before collapsing to the ground with a thunderous crash. The flames around the clearing began to die down, and the forest slowly grew quiet again. Wolverine stood atop the fallen dragon, breathing heavily. His body was bruised and battered, but he had won.